So let's get into this vlog. So I don't have much memory on specifically what happened when I was here a few years ago. I want to say this is 2016, but from what I do remember, it was something. Sorry, I had to get my iPad up. So it was something that I feel like should be shared, and I didn't really have a lot of friends at the time when I did go to Job Corps. I went because hold on, y'all, I'm chewing gum because I'm nauseous, and I don't want y'all to think I'm being ghetto or nothing, but it helps with the nausea. Anyways, it was about 2016. It was right after high school, and I remember my mom always saying she went to Job Corps, but it was in New Orleans, and she didn't stay on campus Job Corps. Well, Gary Job Corps is on campus and off campus, but I was staying on campus. So right after high school, I was supposed to go to the Army, separate story time, but I ended up at Job Corps for the trade of security and corrections. Again, don't ask me why. So I don't have a lot of pictures and videos. I did, but it's all gone. My Snapchat is all gone, which is a part of the reason I'm doing these story times, because I lost a lot of memories. So I'm gonna have to just document them, because eventually when I get in my old age, I'm gonna barely remember bits and pieces like I do now. So I remember it was 2016, and I went the month of my birthday, well, August, and ongoing my birthday in September. Was it? Yeah, it was September. At the beginning of September, I went because I remember I spent my birthday alone, and I was in a relationship at the time, and he did meet me at Job Corps. We're gonna get into that. So when I first got to Job Corps, I failed my drug test, so I had to be in TEEP, a program for people who fail their drug test. You got to go to some marijuana classes or whatever you failed for, and they pretty much tell you why you shouldn't be smoking again. So that's when I took my first drug test, and they put me in there. And when you first go into Job Corps, you're there for a week. I think it was about 7 days exactly, and you're with this group, and it's called the CPP group. And your CPP group is the group that you pretty much know for the rest of the time that you're there. Even if you're not talking to them anymore, you know them like y'all grew up together or something. It's weird because you're mainly in, oh my God, I wish I had these pictures. I did have pictures and videos. Because when you first get there, you're on this, first of all, it's an Air Force base. So everywhere from different pavilion to different building, dorms, medical centers, it was really far for a campus, and it wasn't a regular school campus. It's a government funded school. You don't have to pay. They pay you pretty much to work there, like $25 every 2 weeks. I'm going off topic. So when you first get there, you're with this one group in this building, and you're with all of the girls in shared showers in one side of the dorm, and the other side of the dorm is all boys. So these are bunk beds. We have lockers. It was similar to what people might explain when they go to basic training for the military. Yes, it was set up like that. So to me, I felt like it was good discipline. We had to wake up at 6 o'clock every morning, and those first 7 days, we had to go through a series of programs, like watching certain videos before we enter into Gen Pop. And pretty much, it was weird. Like, I got to know these people the first 2-3 days. I was like, I was with different races. I was with Black, I was with white, Hispanic, but mainly white. So Job Corps is like a place for people who pretty much don't have another option. They don't have college really to depend on. The military is definitely hunting at Job Corps grounds. Like, they really trying to recruit people, but people who are at Job Corps most likely have a record that they can't get rid of. So for me, I felt like it was my last option because I didn't want to go to college, and I just wanted to go to the military at the time. Again, don't ask me. So So I got to know these people, we got close, and during the time I was getting to know these people, I got to know one person, better than everybody else. And she was, she seemed like a sweet girl. And I'm not blurring out any names here. Her name was Sarah, blonde hair, green eyes, weird looking female. But she was cool. We had a lot of stuff in common. I like weird people. And she just so happened to attract this other guy named Michael, and he was also like brown hair, white, I was gonna say Caucasian, white guy, and he was like on a wrestling team at his old high school, so he was definitely like just, I wasn't used to being around it. So I found it really interesting and fascinating about how crazy most of these people were, like the stories that I heard coming from some of these people. So I'm like, okay, we're getting close. At the time I was smoking cigarettes because I couldn't smoke weed, and ew, just don't ask me why. And Job Corps was like, it was worse than going to work. It was like you're up at 6 a.m. and you're down at 7 p.m. You have jobs that you have to go to on Job Corps if you live on the campus. You have chores to do in the dorms, and this is just within the first 7 days of being at Job Corps. So I didn't really know anything about Job Corps. I searched in on YouTube, I searched in on Google, the reviews on Job Corps, and I was seeing the same things like, don't do it, don't go, it's crazy. But I didn't really see anything in detail. So I was like, I'm gonna have to make one of these informative documentaries because this is ridiculous. So in the middle of that week, after we get done with the programs on the big screens, and we're still allowed to wear our regular clothes, we go to medical for a different test. Like, I've never been tested this much to attend a school before. It was weird, but after the test, that's when they found out that I had marijuana in my system, because detoxes don't work. Just stop smoking. And I didn't know that at the time. I was like 18 going on 19. Well, I was 19 going on 20, I think. I'm not gonna get into it. So I was just like, okay, I have to be in a marijuana program. That's fine. Don't really care. And it all went south from there. So after the medical testing, they gave us our dorms that we were going to be staying at, and we got on the buses and we drove down the pathways, and it looked like, what did it look like? It looked like a prison. It looked like a prison, and just with a lot of leniency. Like, you can tell just driving on the buses to your dorms that there was a lot of stuff going on. Like, the kids running around, people smoking in areas, like smoking isn't allowed. There's smoking areas, but marijuana, it wasn't allowed. But you're walking or driving somewhere and you just smell straight gas. So I had a security trade, and I had some math and reading classes because I had to take a test, and it was like college credit. I don't fully know what Job Corps is, just what I went through. So I remember getting to my dorm, and the dorm that I was in, I can't for the life of me remember the name of the dorm, but it was not one of the newer dorms. It was 4 girls in one room. There was a girl from Africa in my room. She barely spoke English. And then there was a light-skinned girl, and it was a dark-skinned girl, and they were both lesbian. So they snuck their girlfriends in at night when I was asleep. So when I first got to the dorm, they told us the rules. Yeah, I'm gonna get back to it. They told us the rules about the dorms. What do you have to do? The chores, you have to write your name down on whatever chores you're gonna do. You have to sweep the hallways, clean the microwave in the living area. It was like, I would say a regular dorm, like college. No, it was like a prison. It was really like what people would describe when they go to the military, when I describe this to certain people. But, and I know I wouldn't say it was comfortable. It was only comfortable when you had to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, and you didn't want to get out of bed. So, you gotta remember what happened next. So yeah, I'm getting settled into the dorm. One of the girls that are in the room, Tiny, she seems nice. She's a small girl, matches her name pretty much. She was cool. So me and her actually were talking more than anybody else. And then the other girl, I'm just gonna say African girl, she was cool. You know, me and her barely spoke because I barely understood what she was saying, but she fully understood what I was saying. She stayed with her group. Tiny stayed with the black people. And the other girl, she was in athletics, so she stayed like with other people. So exploring the campus. When I started to walk around, I was in the middle of like Tejas and these dorms and Bravo. I was about to say Bravo Company, but the dorm was named Bravo, and there were like other dorms and they were named after like military companies. It's Job Corps. So at the time, I was still hanging out with the people in my CPP group. So we all walked around together. We walked to the gyms. The gym was big. They had theater nights every other Friday or so. And then there was the game room. So much happened, and so much happened in the game room. There was the game room. Then there was I think the theater was separate. There was like a boys club and there was a girls club, but those weren't really open much. There was a snack and store area, expensive as shit for no reason. There was I think it was the uniform store, and then aside from the trade buildings at the back, there was the cafeteria. Don't get me started on the food. The first time I had the food, I wanted to cry. I was still about 150, 160 at the time, and my weight just started to deplete. My weight just started to go because the food was literally running through me. The food was so untasteful and bad. It's like they didn't want nobody to choke and die or even have any type of appetite for that matter. But people still had an appetite. It was like jail food, and most of those people were in jail. So go figure. So they didn't really have a problem with it, but I did. So over this time, me and the girl, we were still talking. The girl, Sarah, that I mentioned before, and Michael, we were all still cool. We were mainly us three, and then the very few people from my CPP group. We would all meet up. I wasn't in a dorm with anybody that I knew, so it was just weird. You could tell that everybody was clicked up in their own way. And at the time, I was dressed like, not girly girl. I do have a picture. I'm going to put it in here. But a tomboy. I always had my hair cut, and I wore like basketball shorts or just big shirts all the time or something because I didn't really care. I didn't. But so that helped me a lot because I didn't acquire any attention from the hooligans. So I did see everything that was going on around me, though. The fucking next to the buildings and behind the buildings, and the smells, just everything. So I tried to stay in my own bubble until it was a weird situation that happened where the girl, Sarah, that I was hanging out with, she knew other people in Job Corps, I guess, and she knew they were going to be there, but these were guys, no females. No female friends. I just didn't register with me. Just guys. And apparently she had relations, or she was having relations with most of these guys still, and she was supposed to be dating Michael, who we had met in the beginning. I don't know, they started out pretty fast. They were called Job Corps relationships. So me and her were talking, but we weren't talking like that, because she was too busy doing what she was doing. She was sneaking in windows and doing things. Not going to get into detail. But yeah, we weren't really talking like that very much so, but my name got dragged down in the mud to where Michael came to talk to me about their relationship, and I was like, well, I didn't know she was talking to somebody else. Move, what are you doing? My dog. I didn't know she was talking to somebody else. I just seen her with these guys. I didn't have any proof that she was cheating on him until he came to me, and he said he caught her with one of the guys, and he asked me what to do, and To this day, I don't remember what I told him, so I'm not even going to sit here and lie about it. But I know for a fact I didn't tell him what went back to her. So she didn't confront me, but he came back to me like a few days later, and he was like, she told me you said this, 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 and that much, and I should do this and this and this and that much. And it was weird to me because I was like, I haven't talked to her in like, what, 2 days? So I don't understand what's really going on. But when I tried to confront her about it, she was like a really extra melodramatic female. Like, if you tried to confront her about anything, she'd just cry and blame it on something else or make it about her. Not even make it seem like nobody's the bad guy, or I don't know. But she just started crying about her, something's going on with her mom, and I'm steady asking her, like, you know, what's the situation where I told you to tell him or something, something, something. I have no idea what's going on in your relationship. And the last time I was in a situation like that was high school. So it was just weird to me because at the time in my mind, this is supposed to be done. I'm supposed to be done with this high school he said, she said, back and forth shit. So it just shook me a certain kind of way, and I guess I got out of character. And Job Corps is the place where I found my voice. Before Job Corps, I stayed quiet. I minded my business. I was too high to give any kinds of fucks. But at this moment, I was just baffled because I'm like, why am I in a situation that I have nothing to do with? Even what? Just didn't make any sense. So eventually it came down to her reporting me for bullying because she started giving me side eyes and she started threatening me, and people was coming to me, amping me up. And of course I had nothing else better to do. We're at a place that has no signal, no reception. It's just these same people that you see every day. And they were just pushing me, like pushing my head up, saying she's saying this, she's saying that, just so I can go to her and ask her, she's saying this, she's saying that, knowing damn well she's not going to come to my face and say anything. So she tries to set me up in a way to where she texts me about the situation saying, if you want to fight me, this and this and this and that much. I said, I don't want to fight you. Fighting is so stupid. I don't know what I would even do to you. She was like half my size at the time. So I was like, it's just the point that you're doing all this extra stuff for no reason. And I'm trying to understand, if we was friends, why are you going behind my back telling other people I said this and I said that to save your ass? I'm not in it. Leave me out of it. So she was really case sensitive at the time, and I don't think I said it like that. I was really like aggressive at the time because I snapped. I was going through a lot with my family because they didn't come see me for my birthday because San Marcos was, I guess, too far for them. And they never celebrated my birthday anyway, so go figure. But eventually it came down to me almost spitting on her. Can't remember what she did, but she reported me, but I reported her afterwards, and I noticed that she was reporting me, but they weren't doing anything about it. And around the time that they did do something about it, it was like she had enough evidence to play victim, and I didn't even start the situation. So in between the time I separated myself from the guy, Michael, and her, and around that time I felt like I wanted to leave, but I didn't leave. I left the situation alone, and about 2-3 weeks later, my boyfriend, who I was talking to at the time, he came to Job Corps, and he was in the trade for welding and something else that requires fat hands. So he came, and me and him were joined to the hip. You did not see either of us anywhere without each other. Everybody knew who we were. And it's because when he came, I decided to actually care about my appearance. So then people start to see that, hey, I can actually keep myself up. So more people started surrounding me, more things started happening, more drama, more mess. And this is just in my circle. I can't even get into what everybody was going on separately in their own times. All I knew is buildings were set on fire around the time that I was there. RAs and I wouldn't say students or teachers, students, RAs and students and teachers and students were having relations because there were 16, 17-year-old kids there, and a teacher ended up getting fired around that time I was there and arrested because the girl was 16 years old. And I remember the girl because she was in my dorm. Oh, the girl Sarah ended up stalking me for the rest of the time that me and him was there. And it was pretty much the first time that I was ever really stalked or copycatted. So it was weird. It still happens till this day. I'm stalked and copycatted because certain females just don't specifically like me, and she is still one of them. And it's weird because we have each other on social media because I never had anything against her. She was just always embedded in me since day one. So she felt like we could be like on the same level. I don't know. And she had a crush on me. It was just weird. And I didn't find her attractive. So it was just weird. And that's only one person that I had an altercation with. I had altercations with multiple people. I ended up getting the Gary sickness, and it was where it was called the Gary sickness because people would get really, really, really sick and just wouldn't be able to get up or move or anything. And I've never been that sick, but I was sick when I was there, and the clinic prescribed me antibiotics. And probably a week later, after they were working, my antibiotics go missing. There's 4 drawers under the bed. The bed is embedded in the drawers. So, and I know I'm putting my pills in my drawers every morning before I go to my trade. So it was weird because where did my pills go? My pills went missing. The only person who knew about the pills specifically was Tiny, the girl, like I said, who I was cool with at the time. And I found out her boyfriend was sick also with the Gary sickness, but he didn't get any meds. And soon after my meds went missing, he got better. I didn't. So I went and told my RA, I was like, hey, I think Tiny stole my meds. So they had to do a search check on her stuff. And of course she didn't have it. And they said they weren't going to tell her like, hey, you know, we're not going to tell her that you said anything. But of course they told her that I said something. So she approached me about it, and it made me feel uncomfortable because I already know there was nobody else that would take them. Before that situation, when they were sneaking their boyfriends and girlfriends in the dorm room, I also told the RA because during a bed check, they do bed checks every night. During a bed check, one of the girls, the lesbian's girlfriend, she ran in my closet because I guess my closet was open still, and stepped on all my snacks, my shoes, everything that I had on the floor. And it pissed me off. And when I told her about it, you know, they still did it. I don't know how you could be brave enough to run and jump through a window, but they were. So when I told the RA, the girl was caught in the middle of the street, and after a certain time, you have to be in your dorms. You can't be walking around, or they'll pick you up and you'll most likely get fined. You fight, you get fined, and you go to jail. They catch you smoking, you get fined, and you go to jail. So in the midst of all this happening, I did try my first handlebar. And when I say it was the worst thing that I probably could have done at that time, it wasn't that bad. I was literally walking like on a sideline. Like, I was like, I can't smoke. I'm in TEEP. I want to be high. Somebody was like, here, take this. My dumb ass takes it and finds out it's a bar, and I took the whole damn bar. Never again. And soon after that, I ended up saying fuck TEEP and fuck Job Corps, and I knew I had a second drug test, but I started smoking anyways. And I smoked at Job Corps. Well, I smoked at Job Corps once, and I didn't do it again because it was like that first time that you smoke and things are like weird. my weird is apocalyptic weird. When I smoke for the first time in a long time, yeah, I'd be feeling like I'm in an apocalypse. And it felt like it on a old military base with ex-cons and... Okay. Phone died. I had to switch devices using my iPad. So to sum this up before the iPad dies, Job Corps was a pretty shitty experience for me. Down to the food, the living, the staff, the trade. I didn't even get into the trade. The security trade. It was self-paced. Security and corrections, they actually in the same building together sometimes. It was self-paced. You could do your own thing most of the time, as in reading books. They'll do lectures sometimes. When you got up to a certain level, you do get your gun license. You do have firearm training, CPR training. They do teach you one-on-one combat training, stuff like that. So, I mean, it's cool for a self-paced program, but I like more of, I guess, somebody helping me learn throughout the way instead of giving me a book and saying, here, read this. And then after you're done reading it and taking this test, that just shows you how lazy security is, which is why it's an easy job to get. So, yeah, that experience with the people that I met, everything else, it was just bad. I'm not even going to get into any more detail because I could literally go for probably 2 hours about this Job Corps experience, and I know I'm leaving a lot out. But what pretty much made me leave was me this close to getting arrested. I was this close to getting arrested. If I would have stayed at Gary Job Corps, I wouldn't recommend it. I'd say if you do want to go to Job Corps, try and see if you can drive there and drive back. I wouldn't recommend staying on the campus unless you're okay with being in that environment, because it doesn't matter who you are or where you are in that environment. Somebody's always going to try and mess with you. And I was the most quietest person, and they turned me around and out. So when I came back, even till this day, I feel the need to voice my word. I wasn't raised being able to voice my word, but being at Job Corps, it helped me voice my word. So, yep, would not recommend Gary Job Corps. And that was my story time. If y'all had any different experiences or different questions or something that I missed, and y'all just looking it up to be curious, let me know and I will let you know certain things. But thanks for tuning in. Like and comment and subscribe.